Two black helicopters skim the Hindu Kush ridges at pre-dawn light, dust scattering upward as 24 Navy SEALs focus. Inside the aircraft cabin, red lamps flicker against black helmets. Harness straps tighten, night vision glass shimmering like a silent omen. In Washington, President Obama watches in carefully controlled quiet, his face illuminated by pixelated surveillance footage from Abbottabad. America's top planners analyze maps around coffee-stained tables, highlighting the concrete compound perimeter and every potential blind corridor. The helicopters drop lower, along the rugged foothills, riding the folds of mountains to remain invisible beneath Pakistani radar coverage. Their target's house rises like a fortress. 12-foot reinforced walls, blacked windows, balcony shielding, concrete meant to hide forever. Above the roofline, rotor wash crushes down. SEALs brace on ropes, breath measured, every finger tracing rehearsed muscle memory. Then, chaos. A tail dips. Too sharply, steel loses lift, and a helicopter spirals downward into that narrow courtyard. Metal splits across concrete stones, dust thickens, but the SEALs emerge unbroken, instantly reforming their tactical assault orientation. The second helicopter touches down in a nearby field, landing disciplined and surgical, providing a parallel entry vector. A gloved hand grips the fast rope, boot soles kiss rooftop tiles, adrenaline sharpening focus into almost mechanical certainty. The outside wall's barbed wire glints like a warning sign, each twisted strand silently guarding the compound's hidden interior world. A greenhouse shelters quiet rows of vegetables, a domestic scene completely disconnected from the high stakes converging tonight. A couple animals stand tethered in straw, ordinary daily life, ironically living inches from the world's most wanted fugitive. Burn piles spew ash near the irrigation ditch, evidence that trash disappeared privately rather than through local municipal collectors. 3 SEALs breach the guest house gate explosively, tactical formation perfect, shadows of danger dancing through airborne grit. A startled gunman lifts an AK-47, muzzle glint seen milliseconds before, rounds end his threat completely and abruptly. Radio confirmation signals instantly outward. Guest house cleared, 3 dead, momentum continues toward deeper interior objective positions. Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti lies still, his role as courier finally revealed by circumstance, data, interrogation, and CIA persistence. Floor couches with floral patterns appear abandoned, mid-conversation, domestic relationships abruptly intersecting global covert strategy. Children once studied Arabic here. Chalk dust still lingering on desks as a quiet reminder of interrupted education. A shadow crosses the corridor but is eliminated before speech. Reflex and training crystallize the difference between survival and failure. Another man lunges toward a rifle on the rug, but the moment collapses in one decisive, fast, unhesitating shot. The team tapes miniature precision charges along that thick metal lock, careful to avoid a blast loud enough to compromise. Another assault element forces a security gate. Boots climbing, steps under faint ambient light, steel echoing under weight. A second stair charge blows, the front side unit advancing to widen angles and pressure internal defenders simultaneously. A figure in a white t-shirt leans down the stairwell, curious, unaware of SEAL positioning, seconds before fire erupts. That individual is Khalid, neutralized quickly, a familial link that adds weight to the forensic consequence of this building. Inside 3 rooms, computers hum softly beside drives and disorganized wires, holding years of operational secrets, locked in bytes. USB sticks slip into gloved palms, portable reservoirs of communication that once moved messages beyond intelligence interception grids. Courier methods built around handwritten letters and physical delivery attempt to erase all digital fingerprints from global networks. Radio operators whisper updates between teams, mapping every cleared corridor onto mental 3-dimensional terrain in real time. 6 minutes remain until primary objective contact, tension pressing like gravity against helmets and hearts. Memory of Tora Bora lingers, the elusive escape inside Afghan stone caverns, where death nearly swallowed Osama bin Laden. Single file ascent forms a narrow column through pitch-black stairwells, each footstep measured into rhythm with heartbeat. Darkness turns into green NVG halos, shapes emerging from voids, uncertainty painting the final meters before decisive contact. Flicker of movement, muzzle flash, sharp recoil. These seconds collapse entire years of intelligence momenta, into one decisive trigger. Two wives freeze in shock as children cry in a corner, innocence colliding with consequences built across continents. Young children curl against the wall, tiny hands trembling, unaware how history just collided violently into their private room. Osama bin Laden lies tall and still on the floor, gray beard visible, decades of pursuit suddenly ending right here. Gloves zip his remains into a bag. Clinical actions replacing adrenaline as consequence transitions into chain of custody. DNA evidence awaits transport. Sterile swabs verifying identity, reducing global rumor to measurable forensic certainty tonight. Hard drives and laptops are packed hurriedly, each item possibly containing future catastrophic plans now interrupted abruptly. Explosive charges rig the crashed helicopter, each strip designed to protect America's technology even in broken fragmentation. Backup extraction helicopter appears overhead, a final ride home for a mission that just reshaped global security narrative. A Navy burial at sea avoids future shrines, dispersing Osama bin Laden into waves rather than soil or sanctuary. Hard drives stacked like bricks contain encrypted, unfiltered knowledge, 97,000 documents waiting for analytic teams. Among dark intel, game files like Super Mario appear surreal, reminding the world how contradictions inhabit hidden lives. Counter-Strike remnants mingle beside real warfare memos, ironic symbolism reflecting human curiosity colliding with actual combat. These 97,000 pages will be dissected for years, quietly guiding silent operations in places the public never sees. Pakistani military orders jets airborne instantly, suddenly aware something beyond routine radio chatter has cracked open tonight. Their airbase warms engines, exhaust shimmering across tarmac, urgency pushing metal wings toward the sky with suspicion. Investigators survey rubble with cameras, documenting every charred texture within the compound, like forensic archaeologists. Journalists arrive with questions heavy as monsoon humidity, searching meaning inside shattered concrete geometry. Explorers wander through lingering smoke, imagining the invisible threshold where covert history pivoted right under their feet. Machines tear concrete down 9 months later, destroying the physical architecture to erase a future tourist pilgrimage. What remains today is a foundation slab, silence replacing secrets, time flattening memory into plain, unmoving stone. Medics examine minor scrapes, but miraculously, none of the 24 SEALs suffer injuries beyond dust and exhaustion. A scratched unit insignia marks rough years, each scuff indexing one moment of exposure, risk, and absolute operational demand. Helmet cam frame freezes door breach, allowing the audience brief proximity to this precise fracture point in history. Night vision amplifies dust, turning space into surreal neon corridors of war motion translated into trembling green pixels. Evidence tags stick onto drives, each barcode defining a new thread of possible plots within global extremist networks. Handwritten, Arabic pages document messages beneath candle glow, private signals never intended to be witnessed by strangers. Courier sandals resonate with miles of hidden travel, a silent system designed to bypass satellites and signals entirely. Chalk from lessons still stains desks, frozen mid-childhood, while global intelligence networks closed around these walls. Faded portraits lean crooked against plaster, domestic frames colliding with geopolitical stakes on an unimaginable scale. SEALs position at entry arcs, calibrating angles, turning concrete edges into geometry of controlled threat management. Radio static bleeds across encrypted frequencies as operators coordinate micro-adjustments between interior and exterior elements. Rooftop satellite dishes show bin Laden's efforts to know the world without letting the world know him. Those privacy walls reflect strategy itself, shielding windows into human routine, denying reconnaissance eyes any stray hint. Tonight, drones are absent. Human presence takes the burden, replacing remote optical certainty with risky physical insertion. The courtyard sits eerily quiet afterward, scorched stones holding residue of rotor failure, luck, and survival. Neighbors awaken confused, briefed respectfully before panic spreads, a calm containment perimeter shaping narrative control. Evidence bags seal one by one, each containing microdata that could shift international doctrine after forensic interpretation. Burned gate hinges reveal close-range breaching, freeze-framing tactical fingerprints into silent forensic artifacts. Market vendors sense something occurred overnight. though their wares remain untouched, life continuing unaware of gravity. Officers in perfectly pressed uniforms examine satellite freeze frames like cartographers drawing new fault lines in policy. Black SUV convoys slide through night city blocks, delivering intelligence from battlefield immediately into analysis. Chain of custody protocols reduce debate. Identity becomes measured science rather than public speculation or geopolitical rumor. Burial at sea closes this chapter definitively, preventing pilgrimage, turning narrative into quiet oceanic dissolution. Archive crates fill steel shelves, analysts preparing for months of quiet decryption inside fluorescent-lit rooms. Amid these drives lies a child's toy. Small reminder that families existed entwined inside planning for mass violence. Forensic photographers shoot every angle, building evidence like puzzle pieces, each geometry a key to deeper patterns. The final exit from compound becomes routine, adrenaline consumed and replaced by numb professionalism aboard extraction. President Obama refines phrases for broadcast, words becoming surgical instruments, shaping collective comprehension of consequence. Mobile labs verify death with DNA, preventing conspiracy fog before it forms. Certainty becomes part of national calibration. Rumors scribble across paper near Abbottabad streets, speculation forming faster than official statements can counter. Chain-link fences reclaim the land, vines weaving life back through a space once occupied by global secrecy. Catalog sheets fill with timestamps, each marking precisely when intelligence transitioned from imagination into documented evidence. Pakistani soldiers scan rooftops for clues, dawn sunlight sharpening suspicion like a blade guided by bureaucracy. Streets around compound return to quiet stillness. The ordinary neighborhood repaints itself to normalcy. Children stare curiously at camera crews, their simple wonder contrasting brutal layers behind this historical mission. SEALs meticulously clean their gear, ritualistically purging dust and memory in preparation for unknown future assignments. Lines traced on maps reflect hours of brain work, evidence that victory began on paper before boots ever landed. A SEAL sits on an ammo crate alone, exhausted, contemplating the finality of tonight's irreversible collision of destinies. A heavy crate of drives now heads to analysts, years of hidden data ready to illuminate unseen operational webs. Drawer of family belongings reveals humanity, textured cloth softening the ugliness of calculated global secrecy. Some locals voice anger or curiosity, their neighborhood unexpectedly becoming epicenter of tomorrow's international headlines. Dust floats in archive lofts, warming over stacks of captured documents representing entire ideological ecosystems. Satellite imagery becomes a forensic artifact, each pixel weighed against memories, testimony, and tactical reconstruction. SEAL silhouettes finally stretch across the field, mission complete, walking toward engines humming in soft morning. Years later, documentary interviews unpack emotion, survivors retelling the night history pivoted inside Pakistan's quiet city. Night vision green bleeds into gray stairwell light, each step downward, translating from danger back toward exfiltration. Evidence tag flutters, slightly, a tiny symbol, marking where digital darkness meets classified interpretation. Ground crews replace cracked rotors, preparing machines for whatever next shadowed objective policymakers authorize. Local demolition crews swing sledgehammers, erasing concrete that once hid the world's most sought fugitive. Forensic notes scrawl timestamps, each scribbled line documenting how truth becomes catalog rather than rumor. Bagged drives gleam under fluorescent glare, plastic ceiling knowledge now destined for classified laboratories. Extraction helicopter lifts toward stars, sound swallowed gradually into an otherwise indifferent Pakistani night. Boxed household documents are now artifacts, turning domestic routine into evidence under guarded archive lights. A blurry squad photo reflects adrenaline, not heroics, simply humans who executed precision under unforgiving stakes. Smoke threads upward where concrete rubbed against fire, history evaporating into atmosphere like spectral vapor. Newsrooms process sudden confirmation, anchors arranging language to condense tectonic consequence into coherent broadcast. Archivists digitize pages, preserving brittle fibers into bits so future analysts can decode patterns invisible before. Street sweepers clean dust without knowing their brooms trace edges of one of history's most targeted rooms. Evidence lockers close on numbered boxes, a bureaucratic vault now containing thousands of reasons this night mattered. Cameramen frame rubble with neutral composure, chasing images that convert shock into shared visual documentation. Night watch soldiers sip tea, resting between rotations, routine returning even as global shockwaves begin. A single object remains unlogged. Final line item awaiting ink to close this immense archival chain. Chalk messages mark sympathy, confusion, and anger, voices of civilians grappling with enormous invisible forces. A naval ship waits under morning gold, a final seaborne step concluding a decade of unrelenting pursuit. Analysts lean into screens, mapping patterns hidden inside those drives, each click unveiling previously silent lines. Old heirlooms enter evidence custody, tangible echoes of family past, tied to arguably world-shifting consequences. Dust settles across pulverized compound stones, an unceremonious end to a fortress constructed for concealment. Local historian studies newspapers, contextualizing a night that abruptly realigned political discourse and intelligence priorities. Satellite trucks deploy along the road, media converting shock into narrative content for a global audience tomorrow. A small drone rises quietly, fresh eyes gathering landscape context now that the main objective is already over. Drives drop into plastic bins in rapid succession, this small mechanical rhythm now containing global significance. Cargo aircraft lift sealed boxes skyward, intelligence now shifting from retrieval toward interpretation and potential prevention. Neighborhood children point cameras playfully, unaware their playground sits feet above classified global history. A neighbor recounts hearing helicopters, voice trembling from the shock of war unpacked right next door. Frayed police tape flutters, final physical separation between routine neighborhood life and this violent pivot. Passports and IDs lie arranged for cataloging, human identity reduced to forensic elements within state custody. Logbooks fill with signatures, each pen stroke becoming part of the verifiable chain that defines modern intelligence. Shops reopen, tea brews, the neighborhood tries to shrug off the weight of extraordinary nighttime transformation. Macro cracks in concrete foundations are all that remain, ghost outlines of one of Earth's most secret addresses. Archivists label box after box, turning hidden operation history into preserved structure for classified future study. Flowers at a quiet corner mark a makeshift space for memory, community attempting closure through fragile beauty. Analysts tick final spreadsheet cells, thousands of data points now prepared to influence future counter-terror policy. Abbottabad skyline stands unchanged by daylight. Unaware dramatic global recalibrations now echo far beyond those roofs. Laundry swings in warm breeze, local life reclaiming oxygen away from the night the world came here. Couriers scan crates, then vanish into traffic, securing physical data that once empowered the deadliest extremist plans. Fingerprints align under bright forensic glass, distinct ridges transforming suspicion into documentation with scientific precision. An empty porch swings alone, creaking softly, history now receding into wind, like an unrepeatable nightmare. Scholars gently open boxes, gloves protect fragile paper that once fueled an empire of clandestine strategy. Bulldozers erase remaining walls, dust-coating boots and burying secrets beneath rebar and pulverized concrete. Convoys transport containers through dawn, engines humming, the analytical marathon only just beginning. A heavy cabinet closes with a heavy metallic click, symbolically locking an era behind steel plate. Markets resume haggling and laughter, illustrating human resilience that gradually dilutes even violently historic nights. The slab remains blank concrete plain where Osama bin Laden hid, fought invisibly, and ultimately ceased existing.